Hey Libra, I'm excited to talk to you. Well, always am. For you and Aries this month, I just am wanting to not only prepare you for the eclipse season ahead, but it's also about just wanting to sit with intuitively and feel what's like everything that's going on, because you're both going through changes that cause emotional shifts in others. Now, is that healthy? We can say that, but it's because you both carry a lot for others. You both do a lot for others. Whether it is seen exactly the way, like specifically, literally is the word I'm looking for. Unless it's like seen literally, it doesn't mean you're not doing it. It doesn't mean that people are unaware. It just means that it's not something that goes unnoticed, but it's not something that is pointed out all the time, right? So what I want to come on here first to say, before we even get into the cards, I will hold them up, the first three that popped out. All information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended versions to these readings, which are $5 on Patreon. I do want to let you know the cost. I really do think they're worth it. We get into a lot more detail. They're usually they're never, they could be more than 20 minutes, but they're usually 20 or less, depending on how much we have to get through. I'll probably spend a little more time. I usually spend a lot of time with you guys because like we're Libras and we got a lot to talk about. And then sometimes it's more clear and concise, but regardless, it's all linked below. Payment options are in a link below. Connect with me one-on-one. Everything will be set up differently in the future, but this is what I have for now as we're building. Thank you for being here. And this is eclipse season. The lunar eclipse in Libra is on Sunday. I do this nervous laugh thing, I'm realizing, and more aware of more and more because of a person who pointed it out to me, so I'm just saying that out loud. You are recognizing where you have kind of slept on yourself or where others have slept on you. You've been recognizing it more and more, and it's just the more that you step into this part of yourself that has and knows how much you have to offer, you realize like, okay, regardless if they figure it out now as I'm seeing it too, or as I'm re-seeing it, because it's probably something that you've dealt with before, you're now able to make a decision. You could be very clear and concise with that decision and move on very quickly at this time. However, remembering that it hasn't actually been quick because there's been a lot of patterns, there's been a lot of moments that have happened until now, right? So it's just happening quickly now. Life, the universe, the eclipses, whatever, this upgrade that you're having, because it's a lunar eclipse, it's in the South Node, but if you're a Libra rising, an identity shift is happening, and it may have felt subtle, but now it's going to feel bigger, especially for you. It may cause you to take a lot of forward action because what you're focusing on is yourself, your life, what you provide. And when you look around and see what you provide amongst others, you recognize that it's something to not be taken for granted. Yes, you and I have our ups and downs, we have our moments, but in work situations, we're usually very reliable. We could talk. We get that. But our actions speak louder. Our expressions speak louder. I was actually just listening to this podcast, and well, it's an author who is on one, so listening to an author. And it's really important, more than ever, what it's reminding me is what's been going on the past few days. Regardless, I was going to do your reading second, for this month. Aries energy is very strong. We got that one out. And the themes is about, you know, your health. We don't always think about that with the Aries Libra axis. However, the balance that they provide, the self and other, the self with Aries, the other with Libra, and it's mostly about the self this month because we have it's the South Node in Libra and the North Node in Aries. So that's very much about the self. So if you feel very self-centered or self-focused this month, I want you to remember something that you do need to remember. I told Aries this too, something of the sort, and I was like, you know what? If everyone could just go watch the Aries video, that's all everyone will need this month. So if you want to take a look at that, I definitely recommend. Is that the more you focus on yourself in the way that is positive for you, your life will begin to unfold. How do I know? Well, I get stopped there. I'm going to be honest. That's a growth point for me. I know it. It's a very clear pattern. It's something that can be seen. It's a way that I've been manipulated. And if you've been manipulated or perceived in a certain way, it's all about to change for those people who haven't been kind as they could be to you. I'm like, oh, that sounds scary. No, it's not scary. It's just that you're now recognizing that this is a powerful place to be, but you want to use your power for your own good, which is in turn, you see it for the best of others. Does everyone believe that? No, but they have to see it first. One thing about us Libras is that health is a major priority. We know from a young age, which not many, I'm sorry, but from what I've gathered, between us here, the Libras in the room, most Libras most of us have had to take care of our health because we struggled a lot mentally or whether it was mentally, emotionally, physically, or all three. It was very drastic and dramatic. And as we do, whether we have help or not, we take it upon ourselves. Most likely from a young age, you've had to be responsible for learning to deal with your own self, right? Everyone has to do that eventually. Like you know, it's like, you know, everywhere you go, there you are. And I may have said that to you. I've said that a bunch the past month, or thought about it at least, and it's true. And we have to learn to balance like this incredible vastness of technology of our minds and how we manage that with our heart. And how we connect that with our heart and how we connect that with others, because we are the connector. That's a big task when most people don't know, from what I've observed, don't know how to deal with people. And even I trip up, right? This is a growth point. This is a growth point for us, especially Libra suns. Libra moons, you're so much better at perceiving other people. All Libras are like this, but Libra moon, especially your perception of others, you have a hard time deciphering whether or not you're taking responsibility for others. All of us have had to deal with that in the Libra sector is what I mean. But Libra moons, you have a harder time deciphering that, right? It's not your responsibility. And it's a very much a cardinal Cancerian thing too, but they do it in a different way. You do it in your very interpersonal connections, and then it just translates. So as you move forward and move on from whatever, because what this is going to bring up is an emotional moment. So for those of you who have felt like you're running around, but all you want to do is relax, but you just can't, and then your mind goes and you feel overstimulated, you know, maybe slowly get to the point where you can just like relax and not be so overstimulated, because it will bring you to what maybe you've been overindulgent in, and why it's so important for you to move on from a situation that seemed to be doing well. Yeah, there's a lot there, but it's not, you know, you're willing to give that up and go for the 10. And then you end up with 3. And you're like, I can work with that. Hopefully you can work with that. Because what it's doing is helping you move beyond what you've been in. It's so vague, right? But you can interpret that in probably a few different areas of your life. You can move on from these moments where you feel maybe let down or disappointed, because now you can realize, like, oh, this has happened before. I'm also choosing to stay in this situation. If it's not changing, go for the change. Even if you have to start lower, smaller, whatever, it seems like it's going to be worth it. Because this reverse tower is saying that, like, all of it is underneath the surface. Yeah. Some of you may have dodged a bullet too. For those of you going through a breakup or a change, a drastic change, tone switch, you know, a drastic change, just know that it's for the better. You haven't been, the universe is giving you an opportunity while at the same time showing you that you weren't being given nearly as much as you should have been. And I was thinking about just now redoing this, because the first part up until this point, I'm like, ugh, all over the place, but like, there's so much feeling happening right now. The more you act upon this, and it's probably being vulnerable from all the personal stuff I've shared. Regardless, you stand in that. You stand in how you feel. You can apologize and own for the most part. If you haven't, it's time to own up to maybe some things that you've said or some actions that you've taken, and it's time to take action forward, which will cause you to feel this underlying sense of and it probably goes back to the root of, again, how could I have been allowing this treatment? When, for Libra, do you stop taking this treatment? Well, Libra, when you've made full circle with yourself and stopped treating yourself in a certain way. Stop fighting with yourself. Whatever you're fighting with yourself about, the eclipse will help wash it away. Any worry or doubt. If you're doing too much, though, it'll become extremely obvious at this time. It's something that's been taking up space within you for a long time. Maybe for a few years. This is funny. This was at the bottom of the deck and I noticed it. And that doesn't, it's like in the moments when it happens and that happens and I don't expect it to. It's just so nice. Which is something that I want to bring into this, is that through this, I know it feels big, because you're being exposed to yourself in a way in which certain things don't add up and where some do. And it's time for you to decide to choose your fate while simultaneously accepting it. To take responsibility for not only the things you didn't know. Well, you can't take responsibility for that. I didn't mean that. Take responsibility for the things you do know about yourself now. What's revealing itself clearly as these parts of you that have been taking up space start to see the light, their shadows become smaller, which is like totally an eclipse poetry moment. So, woo. And it's for a reason. The light exposes and makes you realize like everything's really in the light when the light is hitting everything. It's like when the sun is hitting over the horizon of the sea and everything's just lit up so beautifully. So emotional. It's so beautiful. But it's about recognizing that no matter how many times this has happened, and I feel bad for all you Libras out there. I feel you. No matter how many times this has happened, no matter how many times you've come up against something like this, or the pattern over and over again about, oh, I thought I was doing that, and then I realized, shit, I still have to let go and deal with the situation and decide and move forward and recognize that this is my life, and your nervous system is becoming more settled. You're realizing what you deserve and what you've been giving isn't adding up in these areas, and here you are seeing everything come together, and you realize where it stems from within yourself, within maybe some of the conversations or the struggles you've had internally. And they're all being exposed to then be what? To be loved, right? Not that you're always power seeking, but you notice power, you feel power, because you're always balancing. You're always trying to find flow. Maybe if you resonate with that Libra trait. And what you're being exposed to is what's been maybe stopping this flow. What's been not adding up intuitively, but also recognizing around you, and what's pushing you to the next step. For a lot of you, it's receiving what you really deserve and knowing that you need to leave behind this death yet love because of it dying, because it's love for yourself, right? That's the art, it's the beauty within us. Like, I recently got a microneedling done, not the real, just like the liquid version. And the liquid does a similar type, but the real version like breaks down your skin and causes it to basically fight with itself. So it's like doing a cleanse or a detox for your body when you, or fasting. Your body is going to war with itself. So you naturally are maybe more irritable, red, irritated, dry, right? Because your body's doing something so intense. But then when it's over, there's so much more clarity on the skin, the microneedling, and then internally too. Like when you do detoxing, you can find that you feel brighter, clearer, and then your body is working with itself to create new. So it goes to war, and then to become new. To become maybe even more seen, more pure, more beautiful, whatever it is that you're looking for, younger. Or the actual microneedling actually does help promote collagen for about 6 months. So if you want to try that out, I think it's a really good idea. But anyway, I'm into all of it. This exposure of yourself and dealing with this fight within and coming to maybe like the root of it, coming to, or the last of it, or that exposure to the depth of it, right? To what it is that you're sensing and feeling, because you're also feeling a lot, because you're so vulnerable. You do need to protect yourself, because you can tend to feel and take on other people's and then go swinging, right? Drastically. So finding your center, I told Aries, by the time of the Aries eclipse, around that time from then into Taurus season, finding a solid movement routine or in some type of way. I also want to say to you, health is so important, and that all was for health, right? Detox, cleanse. This is also for the health of the organ of the skin that we sometimes refuse to realize that it's an organ. We're so willing to protect our hearts and our lungs, depending, right, on the person. But all these internal, because they're inside, being protected and so vulnerable, but so is your skin. And as someone that is not very melanated, obviously, not very, doesn't even make sense, I have to protect my skin even more, which is not what I was taught growing up, right? I wasn't taught any of that, and therefore now what I see with people aging in my life, I feel very strongly about taking care of this part of myself, not just because the effects are amazing. I'm a little dry right now, but that retinol, working its way in. It's also because it feels good. It's what makes me feel good internally. It's great, the external effects, but the internal effects is so much more. And that's what I'm getting to here, Libra, is that whatever's going on internally and doing your best to connect to that deeper part of it this month. It won't be so hard. And you may feel like you're letting people down. But what I said to someone the other day is you're saying no to others to say yes to yourself. This just looks more in the realms of Venus, because we have Venus in Pisces, which is exalted and loves it there. And it feels really good because a lot is being cleared up right now, right? Oh. And nervous smiles. Then we have the lunar eclipse in Libra coming up. So you may be feeling that steadiness you haven't felt in a while, even though it's Aries season. But there's just this healing. There's so much healing energy happening right now that if you can manage to go through the discomfort of this, where you are using the Ace of Swords, using this power that you have found, because right after I find that I realize something, I can go through a bout of sadness or anger, whatever that feeling that comes up, or both, to be fair. And then I go wow, I'm so grateful to know that. I'm so grateful to know that, because now I can be different, or I can try with the awareness that I have to implement it in. And the ways that you can try is actually sitting down and intentions, being more present with yourself if you've been overstimulated. Be more aware of this, if that is what you wish and that's what you desire, and that's what's coming up. The relational with self, with other, is the same. They're very similar. So notice what you tolerate, notice what you've dealt with, notice how much you've given, and you may not understand that until your body or your mind, or you go looping, or you get confused, or something comes up where you're just something's got to give. What is this? Show me, reveal this to me, right? Ask for it. Doesn't matter. Eclipse season is going to give it to you anyway. It's going to take away, it's going to give whatever it is that needs to give, whatever needs to come in, whatever needs to leave. But interestingly enough, and we'll end here and we'll get into the next part, because I obviously can't wait. Starting with the Queen, ending with the Sun. I mean, it's almost like you find this deep sense of empowerment and experience, and it's a risk too that you're taking to heal this. I don't think we talk about that enough. We'll get more into that into the second part too, is how this is a perfect time to take a risk in the ways that you feel are within yourself and your purpose. And I'm going to even be doing my own little risk taking. But really, it's a big deal when you're scared of something, but you're going to do it anyway, right? Because you don't know, and you like to know. Oh, especially us Libra suns and moons, we like to know. We like to use that telepathy. We do have it. It's not just something that's said. It's true. It's true to an extent, right? For our betterness now. Bottom of the deck. It's not time to sleep on yourself. It's time to awaken to yourself even more. Awaken to your power, your potential, to how you're seeing yourself, what this Aries sun is doing for you. All of this exposures, because all of these, so much is moving into Aries, which we'll get into the second part, which will be literally like, woof, in your face. And a lot of people will be like, and you'll just look around like, okay, you'll be ready. So get ready. This is us, it's you getting ready, us getting ready. Like, you know, we're getting ready. Business casual, you know? Like, if we need to, we can button this up and get down to business. You know what I'm saying? For real, though. I'm so excited. I want to just talk to you more. I know it's a lot, but, like, this is that change. We've been talking about change for a long time, Libra, but it's still changing because you're still forming. And it's that patience, that loving patience. That Venus qualities, Libra and Taurus, I'm Taurus rising, I'm learning is so necessary for love to take that deep color and vibration. Because we talked about in the second part in Aries where it's like physicists will say it and people will say it, wisdom speakers, other people, doesn't matter. Your heart is the vibration that creates your life. So whatever's shifting within, whatever's shifting is for your betterment, your empowerment, your joy, the beauty, being seen for who you are. To an extent. Creating something, birthing something, enjoying. So excited for you. But ultimately, you got this. Even in times where it feels hard, you're alive. And you can start now. Take care, Libra. All information is below. We'll see you in a month. I didn't mean to do that.